What's concerning is how young students are who are currently using smartphones and misusing that technology. Parents feel safer when their kids have a smartphone, which is understandable, but there needs to be a better balance moving forward.
You're listening to the smartsocial.com podcast. This is our District Talk segment where we interview district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media. And we also ask them questions that we get from parents all over the country in our program. Now, let's get back to the interview.
My name is Jason Bing. I'm the proud superintendent of the South Orange Maplewood School District in Essex County, New Jersey, serving around 7,000 students in 12 schools.
Superintendent, it's great to have you here today. To all of our audience, welcome back for this episode of the Smart Social Superintendent Spotlight, where we really highlight how to keep kids safe, how to engage parents, and how to help kids someday using these digital tools that they all have so that they can shine online, get that dream job, dream career, dream internship, everything else. We're excited to have you here. Okay, Superintendent, the first question for you is after 200 plus superintendent conversations we've had on this podcast in 40 plus states, we've heard a consistent trend. We're hearing in some communities that students are growing up in a digital world filled with powerful technology, AI, and social media, but they lack sometimes the maturity and the guidance to use it safely. The result is more student absences, lower focus, rising cyberbullying, declining self-esteem, and AI misuse in the classroom. Also, parents are trying to raise good kids in a world they didn't grow up in, a world we're hearing where technology is moving faster than safety policies. Teens know how to hide apps and online behavior, and safety lessons usually come after a crisis. Now, Superintendent, set me straight. Is there anything we're missing here? Or also, are there any other trends on this topic that you've seen so we can alert other school districts before they see them?
I think you hit it right on the head with those trends. Our data strongly supports everything mentioned in there, especially the mental health side of the house. What's concerning to me currently is how young students are who are currently using smartphones and misusing that technology. We've got reports, bullying reports all the way down to third grade in regards to misuse of smartphones.
Third grade. And I know back in the day, I used to be a big public speaker, and some on social media safety, a lot of districts would say, I only want this for the high school, or I only want this for the middle school and the high school. And then we would ask them, when are you giving kids phones? Well, that's happening in second, third, fourth, fifth grade. Oh, maybe we should do it then. Are you seeing that as well? Kids are getting the phones younger and younger these days?
We are, and we've had open discussions with community and parents and other stakeholders. And what we're hearing is that parents feel safer when their kids have a smartphone.
Yeah.
Which is understandable, but there needs to be a better balance moving forward.
I think that, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I know that at least the other superintendents I talk to and teachers all over the country all have this consensus that I think, all of our parents that are listening right now, we love you. There is no shame. But we also, I'm hearing from, and please set me straight, Superintendent. Some teachers are saying, hey, we love that you want to know where your kids are at, but could you possibly maybe not text your kids so much during class because it's keeping them from absorbing and learning the knowledge we're trying to give them and the thought process. Is that in line with what your thought process would be as well? Would you have a tip for parents on how to let their kids dive into the classroom content?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Obviously, high engagement in the classroom is a top priority for us.
Yeah.
And cell phones, tend to be an obstacle for that. So, I mean, on our end, coming for the 25-26 school year, we have now put in place a smartphone ban K through 8, and we have policy to support that. We have strong community support as well. And then we're also working towards the high school level in regards to slowly putting our toe into that water in regards to restricted use of smartphones.
Yeah. And when does that start?
So we're starting September 2025 for K to 8. So students can bring a smartphone to school. However, they need to put it in a locker.
Yeah.
And then they're allowed to pick that phone up at the end of the day. We also invested in Yonder packets for our older students. So they have the choice. They can use Yonder packets or put the phone in their locker.
Yeah, that's great. I suspect that the first few weeks will be difficult, but we've heard from other districts that all of a sudden the kids are they're more communicative towards other kids. They're more vibrant. They can manage their classroom time better and learn more. What would you tell parents about working with you on this initiative and how parents can work with you to partner with you so kids can learn the most in the classroom.
On our end, we've done a book study around Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. We use that as a launch. We also have a grassroots organization called Team Unscreen here in South Orange Maplewood School District that's been pushing the idea of limiting or creating a balance for smartphone usage amongst our students. So we have strong support from them. And we found great success from this recent book study in regards to just sharing the facts from Anxious Generation and also sharing what we're seeing internally in our discipline reports and our mental health numbers. So we're trying to speak the language of data because it's tough to push back against black and white data.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, the data would suggest decisions need to be made. That's awesome. For all of our audience watching right now, Smart Social helps millions of parents a year to answer the difficult questions about safety that the superintendent and I are talking about right now. Now, parents often ask us in some of our events, Josh, what advice would you give to a student to help them recognize some of the red flags of a dangerous stranger online? What a good question that we had from one of our parents. Let's hear from a real teen how she might help a friend recognize these red flags.
If I had a friend talking online to a stranger, I think that I would feel a little bit uncomfortable with the whole situation. I would advise against it because so many indirect issues can come from that, and it could cause something to be worse than if they had just unadded them in the first place. Some red flags that I would have to advise them to cut it off with this person or to stop engaging would be if the person starts to get very involved in their personal life and they seem to be very intrigued in what's going on with them and wanting to know all the little details about what they do and who they are, and just very personal details and things that you wouldn't normally share with a stranger in real life. If they're very persistent and constantly wanting to talk to my friend or constantly trying to be involved in their life or wanting to speak to them, I feel like that's kind of a red flag. Another thing would be if they ask them to ever meet them anywhere in person right from the start, if they feel a sense of being uncomfortable or their intuition is just saying it's wrong, or if my intuition is saying something feels wrong with this, then I think that's a major red flag.
Now, parents, that's from one of our live events. Real teens are teaching the program. Remember, if your school district is a partner, we no longer fly to your district. We host them online from the convenience of your smartphone, tablet, or computer. We have weekly live online virtual parent events and replays you can see in the bottom left. We have teen-led video lessons. There's about 5 to 7 of what you just saw in the program. A lot of parents are bringing their kids to the program rather than a parent night event on your campus. It's all online and virtual through the internet. And if you miss it, there's a replay in one of 12 plus languages, and there's a premium parent newsletter. But the neat part is if you bring your kids to it, your kids roll their eyes less. They actually kind of enjoy learning from other teens, and they say, Mom and Dad, this wasn't that bad. Now, here's what it looks like in New York. This is Poughkeepsie City School District. We love them. But if you come to our events, if your school district is a partner, this is what happens. You are the one that needs to decide whether it's too much screen time or just right.
But parents and teachers know when it comes to teenagers and social media, that's easier said than done. So in an effort to protect students from the dangers of being chronically online, schools are doing something you might not expect. Asking parents to get online too.
It makes an awareness to parents and students. It also gives them an understanding of some of the warning signs.
That's just one reason why Deron Wilson, an executive director of school engagement, says his district uses the app Smart Social. It's an online app designed to educate parents and students on how to avoid strangers and dangerous situations online.
Kind of like, I want to say, a trap. When you get involved in the cyberbullying, like you might start friending somebody on an app, or somebody might say, hey, they might send me your picture.
Smart Social founder Josh Oakes says while there are a lot of things that can and should scare us online, the increased number of parents he is able to reach underscores the importance of growing social gathering spaces online.
Back in the day, I used to be one of the top social media safety speakers nationwide, but I was flying around to certain school districts and they're the best of intentions, but only 20 or 30 parents would show up. We get 10 times the amount of parents to show up, and they want to learn from the convenience of their home or office how to keep their kids safe on social media. They want to ask live questions. They want to learn how to have dialogue starters with their kids that actually get their kids excited about talking with their parents and strengthening that relationship.
Darcy Wertique, Spectrum News.
Now, parents, remember one last quick thing. We've got live events every single week, even over the summer, avoiding strangers in dangerous situations, reducing arguments. We've got some exciting stuff coming up in July, August, September. October being our huge anti-bullying month, probably the biggest in the world, where we're doing this in 40 plus states. And you can watch a replay in one of 12 different languages. We've got the whole lineup here. Gone are the days where you're wondering how to talk with your kids about reducing that screen time. We think we fixed it. And if you come to one of our events, you're automatically entering for a chance to win a Kindle, a 3D printer, a Bluetooth speaker, and more. So we're back to our guest expert. Superintendent, my question for you, in addition, we've talked to these 200 plus superintendents, your peers in 40 to 41 states. And we've heard from communities, and this might not be in your community, but we've heard this consistently nationwide. We're hearing that many parents feel overwhelmed trying to keep up with fast-moving online trends and digital safety risks. In addition, we're hearing that students are finding ways to increase their screen time and bend the rules, especially when the expectations at school differ significantly from those at home. Superintendent, what trends or pain points are you seeing when it comes to parent engagement? And where do you feel families are struggling the most to stay informed or connected?
Yeah, on our end, we've been trying to use community conversations and town halls. As you just noted, Smart Social is doing the same. We do live events. We also do use WebEx as well to really just open up conversation lines. Our next phase for us is really getting students more involved, because we feel students learn better from their peers and listen more intently to their peers. So we're looking to get a superintendent advisory council of students together, really to push exactly what Smart Social has been pushing: the idea of safety, the idea of creating a balance, and the idea of really getting back to that person-to-person communication that these kids are going to need to have that skill when they get older and go into careers.
Yeah, so true. What would some of your advice be to other superintendents to maybe overcome the struggle of parents not wanting to attend an in-person event or even an online event? Do you have any tips or suggestions there?
We've been working through our PTO, PTAs, and other grassroots organizations in town. We're also working very closely with our municipalities, with both our mayors and their teams, and also our local police. I think the more collaborative you can be, the more people are willing to hear your message.
Yeah. Are there any last minute safety tips you have for parents on how they can really manage screen time over the summer, or as we start thinking about back to school, which we're gonna blink and it's gonna be here? What are your tips for parents back to school, how to manage that screen time, manage a productive classroom day, and then also getting that homework done?
Yeah, I mean, I have to manage that not only as a district superintendent, I also happen to have a daughter going into 7th grade. So I'm dealing with it personally as well. We're trying to, for my daughter, for example, trying to engage her in activities that will keep her involved and does not require a smartphone. We're also limiting her smartphone usage through various apps. And we're also sharing facts and data with her on a regular basis. As noted, we did a book study on anxious generation. I'm sharing some of those graphs and some of that data with my daughter on a regular basis. I'm also sharing the data around mental health amongst our youth, because I think she needs to know and see that data in order to really enact a change on her own. For us, it's really encouraging our students to develop a wall of self-love around themselves. And that takes time, especially amongst our younger students. That has to do with self-affirmation, that has to do with growth mindset, that has to do with a lot of things that are quite mature, but our younger students now need to know, because they're in this digital world bombarding them with information that probably is not appropriate for their age.
It's true. What you just brought up is important. A lot of parents are going, well, I'll talk to my kids about those kind of mature things when they're ready. And parents, what we're doing these days by giving these phones to kids at a younger age, they're getting, this will sound a little blunt, but it's really like drugs for their eyeballs. It really does open them up, and they don't know how to turn it off at night. That's why we often recommend it, Smart Social, or always, if they're of a certain age. We wait till social media until the age of 16. I know a lot of people aren't going to like hearing that. There's no judgment if you gave it to them early, but a lot of the countries and laws are saying 16 is when we're probably ready to start thinking about being online. And that's when we can drive too, by the way, at the same time. So that's kind of what the government would agree in most states. But in addition, how do we make sure that kids, rather than just getting online and parents wait until they see something wrong, how do we have the discussion about, this is what a predator might say to you. This is why you are loved by your parents. Your parents are going to be tough love on you because we want you to grow up great. And if somebody's too nice to you online, that is a red flag. If somebody tries to buy you things or says you're pretty or I get you, we need to get ahead of that and have those talks. So parents, remember, the predator does not want you to have these talks with your kids. They want to have those talks, and so they can dictate that. Superintendent, did I get it wrong? What would your recommendation be?
No, I also think there's the idea of quantity over quality. Our kids are so attuned right now to getting 1,000 likes, 1,000,000 likes. And you know this as someone who has lived life, that you need a handful of close people in your life that are going to support you, that are going to love you and believe in you. Yeah. And our kids need to know how to develop quality relationships instead of just quantity of relationships. That's an important message to give our students.
Yeah, so true. The quality of those friendships rather than the quantity. Because if you have quantity, you really don't have a good friend.
100%. And that's what our kids struggle with. I mean, these are difficult conversations parents have to have. I mean, I'm an educator, highly degreed. It's a difficult conversation for me to have with my 12-year-old. It's not easy. And also to find the time to have these conversations. Most of my parents are working individuals. It's difficult to even find the time, but I think it's something that we have to be intentional about.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Superintendent, I really want to thank you for taking the time. You've got a busy day and you've taken the time out to teach some of our parents and our audience. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Love what Smart Social is doing.
Thank you so much. Hey, to all of our parents and superintendents and everybody else who's watching this, we love you. We appreciate you. And we're cheering for you. If you're having those difficult discussions with students, and if they're upset with you a little bit because parents, you took away that device once a week, once a month, and you're bettering them at the age of 25 instead of just making sure they're happy now, we are rooting for you and we're your cheerleaders, if you will, and we're grateful. Parents, one last thing. Remember to keep it light, bright, and polite because your kids are watching what you're posting and how you're behaving online. I'm Josh Oakes, the founder of smartsocial.com. We hope to see you at our next events. Have a great rest of the day. Take care. Thanks for listening to the smartsocial.com podcast. Smart Social helps parents understand technology and social media to keep their kids safe and successful. Be sure to join one of our weekly online live events to become the smartest parent on the block so you can keep your kids safe and protect their future. Also, don't miss our 450 plus online resources and replays you can watch on demand in multiple languages. Are you a school district wanting to unlock these resources for your parents? Reach out to us so we can protect your whole community each week. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you on the next episode.